Welcome to Chelsea. This week has flown by. It's Friday, the sun is out, and we have plenty more for you this evening.
We certainly have, because only at Chelsea would you find this much horticultural excellence in one place. Here's what's on the menu today from the RHS Chelsea Flower Show 2022, an event supported by the Newt in Somerset. Mary Berry dishes up a feast for our eyes as she luxuriates in fields of gold.
I'll be meeting passionate gardener and actress Adjua Ando, otherwise known as Lady Danbury from Bridgerton.
And we'll be revealing the results of the BBC RHS People's Choice Award. Which did you vote for as your favourite show garden?
But first, here's Adam Frost with his take on the trailblazing design trends that are set to influence what we'll be doing in our gardens in the future.
Here at the Chelsea Flower Show, there are structures that simply stop you in your tracks. They are breathtaking, inspired by huge landscapes, more ornate open buildings, things that divide space. But I think with so many of us now working at home over the last couple of years, one thing that's jumped out at me is the garden office. And this I absolutely love. But not just because of the job it's doing, but the way it's sitting in this landscape. The shape of that building is not just a box at the end of the garden. It's picked up in the deck that then cantilevers out over the water. But if you look carefully, the shape then works back with the building. So you can imagine, you've walked all the way down the garden to get to work in the morning, but then you've arrived somewhere slightly different. It's interesting, as soon as you walk in, even at the Chelsea Flower Show, it's quieter, but I don't feel like I've disconnected from the garden. Here we've got big windows that give you that vista of the water and the planting. But it's the detail in here, there's an elegance to it. You know, the black on the window frames and the door, you know, that actually connects it to what's going on outside. But the really clever thing that pulls it all together is the simplicity of the colour. Because if you see the river birch out there, that's where it's come from, so it just ties the whole thing together. You definitely could spend a few hours here. From Niagara Falls to beaver dams to quiet streams to silent pools. Water features are a big thing here at the Chelsea Flower Show, and as they should be. They bring so much to our gardens. But the one that's caught my eye is this. Simple ceramic tube that feeds into a pool below, circulated and back up again. There's an elegance to it, and it just catches your attention. You pause and then you move on. But what I really love, it's repeated through the garden, and it provides something just slightly different for each space. So I think in reality, if you want to add water to your garden, it really doesn't have to be complicated. When it comes to planting this year at the Chelsea Flower Show, the first word that comes to mind is diverse. But the one that's caught my eye is this garden here. I love the mix of the ornamentals with the edibles. Look in front of me. The shrubs in here, chokeberry, and we've got currants down there. They set this framework of edibles. Then we've got the herbs, rosemaries, mints, things like that. Ornamentals work their way through and provide that colour. And then, lastly, bits of fruit just pop up all over the place. And I think that demonstrates that you don't have to have the veggies in one place and the ornamentals in another. You can interplant and create quite a cool looking garden.
Now Chelsea's not only about design, there are plants here from all over the globe that we can use in our own homes and gardens. Now Suzanne, you're the newly appointed president of the Barbados Horticultural Society. How many years has Barbados been coming to Chelsea?
We've been coming over 30 years.
I mean, it looks absolutely
yeah.
amazing. These aren't all from Barbados, but they're sort of from all around the world, aren't they?
They are.
But just in front of us, they look so fresh, as if they've come straight out of the box.
Yeah, well, they did come straight out the box.
I know, but we're like we're at the end of the week now, and
Correct.
they're still looking fresh.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do last. Anthuriums, these are anthuriums.
Yeah.
And they do last a very long time as a cut flower as well.
Yeah. What else have we got here then?
We also have these beehive gingers. Those are really lovely. And we've got some heliconias,
Yeah.
known as the sexy pink. Those are nice.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they? And they just grow outdoors
They do.
in Barbados.
Correct, yeah. They all do.
No, it's just great the way you put it together. I mean, the foliage combination and the colours that you've got
Yeah.
from the plants is just stunning, you know. I've got my sunglasses in my pocket. I should have put them on when I came.
Well, that's the beauty about, I guess, tropical plants. They're different blooms at different times, which makes your garden quite colourful, which is what you need.
I do really love this lush, tropical, exotic look, but these plants wouldn't survive a winter in the UK. So let's go and find some that would. Now, this Chamaerops humilis, this is the most spectacular palm I've seen at the show for years, and it's beautifully planted. It's tough down to about -7 degrees, and it's all about drainage. If you get good drainage at the roots, it'll be able to survive a cold winter. Put it in a claggy, muddy soil, and those roots will rot off. And the older it gets, the tougher it gets too. This one's pretty old. And then in the back corner, we got a Trachycarpus fortunei, again, a pretty tough, hardy palm. And once you've established that look with these architectural plants, it's all about filling in with a lower story and getting different textures and different colors coming through, but still with exotic looking plants. And here we have Xanthodecia ethiopica. Now this is the arum lily, and it's a hardy herbaceous perennial plant, and it's growing in the ground here. It likes moisture at its roots, but just look at it, it's so elegant with those white spades. And on the other side we've got Angelica. Now that's a biannual, and bees love it, but look at the lush foliage. It works within this whole scheme. I'm in the middle of the Chelsea Flower Show here, but I feel as if I could be anywhere in the world.
Look at these alliums, they're like a work of art. The people who grow these plants go to extreme lengths to deliver perfection for just 1 week in May. And sometimes that means pushing their plants to the limit to bring us something unexpected at this time of year, as Dame Mary Berry recently discovered.
There's nothing more exciting than when the first daffodils come into bloom in spring. But come late May, there is lots of other colour coming to replace them. So why would you bring spring bulbs to Chelsea? Well, for over 30 years, Taylor's Bulbs have. So I've come to Lincolnshire to meet Adam Taylor, the latest in a long line to nurture these spring staples.
Adam, I have never in all my life seen so many daffodils together. It's really spring. Wonderful.
It's a beautiful sight, isn't it?
It goes on forever. So how many have you got here in this enormous field?
In total, we have 4,000 tonnes of bulbs in the ground in this area.
They just look so organised. They're in straight lines all along. In the wind, they look so special. They're trumpet type.
Yes, this is your classic yellow trumpet daffodil, as people would call them. Variety called Carlton. It's what most people would imagine a daffodil is to be.
How many varieties have you actually got over the farm of daffodils?
We've got a lot of different varieties. Let me show you.
Looking around this field, it's just like a patchwork quilt, all different colours.
Yeah, it's a beautiful site, isn't it, Mary? There's 350 varieties here in total.
In this field?
Yes, in this field.
Is it true that you should put daffodils always in one vase together and not add other flowers to it?
Correct, yeah. Daffodils like daffodils. They don't like other flowers in the same vase. They will shorten the shelf life of the other flowers. Let me show you this variety over here, Mary. This is very unusual. This is a variety called Irene Copeland. Many people wouldn't even think that's a daffodil. It's such a tight flower head, so many petals in there. It's really, really unusual.
But it's so pretty.
Beautiful variety, isn't it? We keep this one because it is a heritage variety and we need to keep it as part of the collection.
I had no idea that there were so many varieties. Well, why bring a spring daffodil to a summer show?
We like to show all the different varieties that we can offer. It just gives people opportunity to be able to see all of the different flowering times on show in one go. If we didn't take them to a show, then it'd be a struggle to convince ourselves to actually keep this collection running. Some of the more discerning gardeners as well will come to the stand and they'll see varieties that they have never seen before, and they'll order them there and then because they'll want to make sure that they get those bulbs so they can have something special for their garden.
All these daffodils flower at different times, from January to May. How do you get them all together for the Chelsea Flower Show?
We have a technique, but let me show you. Well, welcome to our 2,000-ton potato store, Mary. And this is where we keep our Chelsea daffodils.
You brought them into the cold?
Yeah, we have them paused in time at this temperature. They've been on a journey already to get to here, and then they carry on that journey all the way to Chelsea. So these bulbs were harvested last June, and then we've kept them in a shed all the way through until December at a warm temperature. We've tried to make sure that the bulb thinks that it's summer all the way through until that time. And then we plant them, and then they root. And as you can see, they're very vigorous. So as soon as we bring them into the glasshouse, they'll go from this to full flowering.
In how long?
Well, within 2 to 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, much quicker than they would do normally.
So here we are, from the cold potato shed to the glamour of Chelsea.
Yes, that's their journey, Mary.
You've had 26 golds so far. What's the chance of a 27th?
There's every possibility, isn't there? We really hope that we can do it. There's so many things that are out of our control, but we'll do everything we can to come home with the gold medal.
Adam, I for one am thrilled that you're bringing spring daffodils to Chelsea again, and I wish you every possible success.
Thank you, Mary.
I'm really in daffodil heaven. There are so many to choose from. I might be a while. Well, I'm here and very excited. The first thing I'm looking for, did he win a gold? Look at it, it's there. And that's the 27th, and they've had one every year. Believe it or not, there are 36 different daffodils here, and it's May. Quite tricky to get them all out at this time. I've been looking around to see which one I like this year, and I think it's that one there, Philly. It's a delicate white one, mid-season, which I like. That's my favourite. These daffodil bulbs aren't the only bulbs here. I'm off to find some more to add to my collection. Steve, you are a great expert on nerines, and it's a plant that I really love and have had success with because it comes at the end of the season, you know, when there's not much in the garden. September, October, and still November. I mean, what else have you got in the garden in November?
Well, very little, and that's why these are superb and they lend themselves so well.
Here we have the bulb. Now, what's the secret about planting these?
The secret about planting is you must plant them so the nose is high of the soil. You don't plant them deep. They like the sunshine on the neck of the bulb. They like to be in well-drained compost or well-drained soil, and they like plenty of sunshine.
I know that because I grow mine with a facing south, a wall at the back, and fairly rubbish soil.
Right, yeah.
And they look after themselves.
That's exactly how they grow in South Africa as well, so you're mimicking the natural environment, and if you do that, you always get success.
But things have advanced, haven't they? Because the Nerine Baldeni, this original one, you can now get in a multitude of colours.
Yeah, they come in the dark pinks, the peachy coloured ones like the Vesta, and the Alba, the pure white one. All hardy to -10.
And they're lovely in a vase too.
Yeah, they do last probably 2 to 3 weeks.
They do, if the kitchen's not too hot.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, that's right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm going back home and checking online.
Later in the show, we'll be bringing you the results of your votes for the BBC RHS People's Choice Award for the large show gardens. But the small garden categories haven't been forgotten. Thousands of you have been voting on the RHS website for your favourites. Here's Arid Anderson with the winners.
This year, there are 2 RHS People's Choice Awards for the smaller gardens. Winner of the balcony and container garden is Anne Treneman for her wild kitchen garden. Earlier, Helena Pettit, RHS Director of Gardens and Shows, surprised the well-deserving winner.
Congratulations. I'm delighted on behalf of the RHS to award you for the People's Choice Award for Balcony Containers 2022. Well done. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
How lovely. Pleasure.
Oh, how excited.
Unbelievable. The People's Choice Award, how are you feeling?
Amazed. Obviously thrilled that people voted for my garden.
Well, it's absolutely beautiful. Why wouldn't they?
Well,
Absolutely gorgeous.
It has very good competition.
The second award was for the Sanctuary and All About Plants Gardens, and it was Mothers for Mothers by Pollyanna Wilkinson that was the people's favourite.
Pollyanna, you are the RHS People's Choice Award winner for Sanctuary and All About Plants Garden 2022. Well done. Congratulations. Well done.
This garden raises awareness that mothers face from pregnancy and raising young children and some of the challenges that may arise with their mental well-being. Pollyanna has used these arches to represent what it might feel like when you're at home. Sometimes a sanctuary, sometimes feeling caged. And this cracked pathway really does show the journey that is taken from those mothers of how they go from ill health into their well-being. All of these emotions are reflected in the planting, and by the use of the colour palette here, it starts dark and moody, and then it starts to lift and become more joyful at the end. Pollyanna, a huge congratulations to get the People's Choice. How's it feeling now it's settled in?
This is a complete dream come true. I can't quite believe it yet. I'm still in a state of shock. I hope people think it's a beautiful garden, but so much more importantly for me was the message behind it.
That is really good, because I know that you was a bit disappointed about your medal. So is this any way going to compensate for that?
Stung not to get a gold, but then to receive this and know that the public love the garden, it's just completely obliterates any disappointment.
Now tell me, where is the garden going on to afterwards?
So the planting and this beautiful bench is going down to Bristol, to Hartcliffe City Farm, so it's really nice to think that there's going to be a little slice of Chelsea down in Bristol.
There's a slice of Chelsea down in Bristol. This will be hopefully on a very well-placed shelf.
Oh yes. Oh,
so
yes.
Enjoy the rest of your time, but well done again.
Thank you.
Well, I'm here inside the packed Great Pavilion, and joining me now is Bridgerton's Lady Danbury, Adjoa Ando. Lovely to see you here.
Hi, Sophie.
Now, you are a family, or from a family, of great gardeners.
We are mad for gardening, so I'm hysterical today. I'm just overwhelmed with delphiniums and alliums and roses and the smell and the cow parsley, my favourite flower ever, and some fantastic show gardens.
And for all the crowds, you've never been to Chelsea before, have you?
I've never been to Chelsea before. I find it enormously encouraging that this country loves its gardens so much, and that this event happens and people just pile in. It's great.
You grew up in the countryside.
Yes.
You live now in London.
Yes.
But you do have a rather wonderful garden.
I do have a garden. I love my garden. I've got my raspberries and my strawberries and my tomatoes and my rocket and all sorts of roses. All sorts of flowers in there. I love my peonies. Just seasonally planting, all of that. It's an absolute balm. I mean, we're lucky that it's such a green country, and luckily living in London, it's such a green city. To have an outside space is really precious, whether it's a park or a window box or a garden of any sort. And there's so much you can do, and there's so much joy from planting stuff. And so it's a great encouragement to come here.
And you've got a mad filming schedule at the moment.
Yes.
You've been so busy over the last few years.
Yes.
Obviously, Bridgerton was
Yes.
this extraordinary hit.
Yes.
How important is your garden to you to sort of escape all that?
It's absolutely. I go out into the garden and I can get lost out there. The honeysuckle and I had a battle the other day. I started off mid-afternoon and it was midnight when I was like, okay, everything's in the green bags. I've chopped it all back now, and yeah, I just get lost in the garden and I love it. It's so exciting to plant something and then see it flourish. It's a real simple joy, but it's peaceful.
It's pretty big, your garden, by London standards, but do you miss the countryside? That's where you grew up.
Well, my dad still lives in the house I grew up in the Cotswolds, quite near Badminton, where we filmed bits and pieces of Bridgerton. So I still get to have my fix of that. And my mum lives in Shropshire, right in the rolling hills, right on the Welsh border. So I have lots of countryside in my life, which is good.
You were very well known already from Casualty, from Doctor Who, but obviously Bridgerton is a massive global hit. You're here surrounded by all these crowds. It must be, I guess you're pretty much mobbed here, aren't you?
I've taken quite a few selfies, but that's okay because it means I'm working and people like what I'm doing, so it's absolutely fine.
And are we going to see more Bridgerton?
Yes, we're about to start season 3. We'll be filming that for most of the year, I would imagine, so it'll probably be out early in the spring. I'm saying that. I'm not at Netflix. I don't know. But going on this year's schedule, I would imagine it'll be out sometime early next year.
And in the meantime, what are you going to take home from Chelsea? What's your sort of abiding memory of it?
Well, the RNLI garden is beautiful. The waviness of it, the coolness of it. My grandfather was a merchant seaman. My husband's family are from Sussex by the coast, Eastbourne. So the sea is a big part of our life as well, and I love that.
Lovely. Well, it's wonderful to have you here. Welcome to Chelsea on your debut visit, and I hope you come back again.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, I definitely will.
Thank you so much.
Sophie.
Well, the Chelsea Flower Show does have a long-standing connection with the military. It takes place, of course, in the grounds of the Royal Hospital, the home of the Chelsea pensioners. This year at the show, there are also 2 gardens dedicated to the armed forces. We sent former Royal Marine J.J. Chalmers to look at them both.
Well, it's unsurprising to find military gardens here at the Chelsea Flower Show. After all, we are literally in the gardens of the Chelsea pensioners. But there is an innate connection between gardens and the military, with them being used as reflective spaces for remembrance up and down the country. This is the RAF Benevolent Fund garden, and its centrepiece is this stunning statue of an RAF pilot looking up to the sky during the Battle of Britain. And actually, the garden's designer, John Everest, his father served as a navigator in Bomber Command during the Second World War. And what I particularly like about it is that these benches have been intentionally placed here so you can reflect on his reflections. Whilst military gardens like this one can be used to mark the past, they can also be used to look to the future. The Safa Garden, designed by Amanda Waring, is a garden for recovering military personnel and their families. Amanda, you created this garden, and I should say, played a part in my recovery when I was leaving the armed forces. This space, though, when you set out to create it, what were you hoping to achieve?
I want to achieve a garden that we could take to Chelsea, but also take back to Norton House. That whole process of taking a garden to another site afterwards was very important in my brief.
I spent a lot of time at Norton House when I was going through my recovery, and lots of my weekends I spend there with my wife, just sort of getting a bit of an escape from the hardships of recovery and rehabilitation. One of the things that strikes me about this as well, when you look at the slope, this is probably one of the most accessible gardens here at Chelsea, would you say?
I would like to think so. I mean, it was important again that we had the access in, and access is key to any garden. It makes sure that everybody can use the space, even those with less able bodies or children and staff. Everybody can get onto this garden and enjoy it.
Because the thing is, this isn't just a garden for people with disabilities, this is a garden for everybody.
Yeah.
This is a place that everyone can come together, right?
Yeah, very importantly. And I can see children running around in circles on it, which would be great, because the children at Norton House just love the garden, and we've got play area and everything, so it's so important for them too.
It's so vibrant as well. Where did you get the inspiration for the colours?
So the colours come from, we've got the blues and the dark colours for the Navy, we've got the greys and the blues for the Armed Forces, we've got the greens and the white for the Army, and we've got the beating heart of Norton House around the water feature. When you see people looking in on it and getting a little chance to see this really special sanctuary, it must make you very proud. Oh, I'm very proud, very honoured to be here. But the best thing is SAFA are really happy with the whole process and they are getting so much out of it, so that is key.
Well, earlier this week, we invited you to be judge and jury when we asked you to vote for the BBC RHS People's Choice Award. And the results are in. Which of the 13 large show gardens did you decide was your favourite? Well, in third place, it is Morris & Co. by Ruth Wilmot, a stunning garden based on William Morris's patterns designs.
Beautiful garden. Yeah, she's going to be over the moon with that. There are probably tears coming, but it's a lovely garden, quite traditional. OK, in second place we have RNLI, Chris Beardshaw's design.
Another beautiful garden.
Another stunning garden, doing what Chris does best, some lovely planting.
He often does very well in the People's Choice vote, but the winner of the People's Choice vote 2022 is The Perennial Garden with Love by Richard Myers. Well, earlier Joe and I were there to surprise him with Helena Pettit, Director of Gardens and Shows from the RHS.
And here I am with Richard Myers. Richard, your garden's really grown throughout the week. I mean, when did you finish planting? About a week ago, is it?
It was exactly a week ago. We finished the last of the planting up at the top of the garden. And this rain we've had, it's been a shame for the crowds, but it's been wonderful for the gardens.
It's been perfect for growing, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, and down here, the pool and the chamomile lawn.
Excuse me.
Oh, hello.
I have something I think you might like to know about.
OK, sure.
Turn around.
Richard, congratulations. You are the BBC RHS People's Choice winner, Chelsea Flower Show. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well done.
It's been a very emotional week. It's been emotional 3 weeks. I'd like to thank everyone, all my team, Perennial, my team, Stuart Landscapes, everyone who, Fawn Plants, everyone, and the BBC for your coverage.
What does it mean to you, though? Come on.
Oh, it's been amazing standing here all week and people just saying, we love your garden, we love your garden, we can recreate that bit, we can recreate that. It's been amazing.
I mean, it's a lovely garden, and that is a big one, the People's Choice Award. Congratulations.
I think you need to hold it above your head. Come on, there we go. Hey, congratulations. He really was not expecting that. He is one very happy man. Well, that's all from us for tonight. It has been an incredible week here at Chelsea. So good to be back here again in May. You can see all the highlights again on Sunday evening at 6 p.m. on BBC One.
I'll be joining Monty on BBC Two in just a minute when we'll be chatting to People's Choice winner Richard Myers and bringing you loads more horticultural splendour from this year's show.
But from both of us, goodbye.
Bye-bye.